Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Khalid. Today is Friday, the 22nd of August, 2025, and these are the stories that we will be highlighting during the course of the show. We'll begin, ladies and gentlemen, with the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, who was in Pakistan, met with many important leaders, including the President of Pakistan and, of course, the Chief of the Army Staff, Field Marshal Asim Munir. Important things were discussed as far as bilateral cooperation and the gambit of the relationship between both the countries is concerned. A special emphasis was also placed on the counter-terrorism and how both countries could work together. There was a trilateral meeting also that happened in Kabul, in which counter-terrorism was also one of the main topics. We'll be highlighting that, and of course Pakistan-China relations in the whole context of the visit of Wang Yi. This is going to be our first story. Our second story concerns the latest situation as far as the floods is concerned. Just a few moments back, the chairman and DMA also briefed as far as the relief and rehabilitation operations and the next spate of rains is concerned, and he was of course accompanied by the Minister for Information, Mr. Atar. The 60% of families in Buner and Swat have lost their livelihood due to the floods, and of course the effects are devastating. But and of course Punjab also has been severely affected by these floods. We will be discussing the different impacts on it and what measures are being taken by the government and the armed forces. Next, we are going to talk about the export of Pakistani products to 9 regional states that has risen in the last few days and weeks, and this of course is a very healthy and positive development as far as our economy is concerned. Pakistan also wanted to be an export based economy, and this is where we are aiming to move towards. This is going to be our third story. Our fourth story concerns the latest situation as far as Gaza is concerned, where around 21 nations joined the European Union and the United Nations in opposing Israel's illegal settlements in the occupied West Bank. This of course adds to what Israel is doing within Gaza, and we will be highlighting that in a few summarizing it and of course giving some details about it. Finally, Hollywood is making the biggest artificial intelligence debut with the classic Hollywood film Wizard of Oz that has been restructured, remade using artificial intelligence, and will be premiered at Sphere with the tickets that will be more than $100 per person. But of course people say it's going to be worth it from every angle, especially with the inclusion of artificial intelligence. This is the lineup for today with our first story, and that concerns the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi's visit to Pakistan, and of course the sixth strategic dialogue that was held between both the countries, the meeting that was held between the Deputy Prime Minister and our Foreign Minister, the meeting that was held with the President, as well as with the Chief of the Army Staff, Field Marshal Asim Munir. We've been joined by two guests. Let me introduce them to you one by one. In the studios, we've been joined by Abdullah Khan Saab, who's the MD of PICS. Thank you very much, Khan Saab, to have joined us. And online, we've been joined by Zoon Ahmed Khan Fellow, Center for China and Globalization. Zoon, thank you very much to have joined us. We'll begin with you, Zoon. Let's talk about Wang Yi's presence in Pakistan and the different meetings that he held. Now, when he meets the Chief of the Army Staff, Field Marshal Asim Munir, he reiterates China's steadfast support for Pakistan's sovereignty and development. How significant is this consistent backing that has been coming from Beijing in the good, in the bad times, especially at a time when Pakistan faces a lot of pressure and external instability?
No, absolutely. First of all, let me just emphasize once again that I've been based in Beijing for 10 years. And if you ask any Chinese person, let's go on the people-to-people level as well, because in these high-level meetings, we also need to understand that they fully reflect the sentiment of people on both sides. Any Chinese would say that Pakistan is the closest partner in every sense. We align when it comes to our regional, aspirations. We align when it comes to strategic goals. We align on global governance and global security, and we align on the economic future of the region, including both countries. So I think obviously Wang Yi has been traveling to various countries lately, and Pakistan has been a very, very important stop. I'll also mention that, of course, while we do have the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor as a key focus, which is, again, multifaceted cooperation mechanism, right? We also have various other platforms, like you mentioned, regional mechanisms, whether it's the SCO or the trilateral. So at this time, when you see a lot of countries, whether we talk about Western powers, whether we talk about some countries in our own region, they are facing a situation of realignment in many ways. But our bilateral cooperation and our regional aspirations have remained consistent. Number two, I think this visit is also very important because there have been, at times some murmurs of whether or not we are meeting each other's understanding and expectations, even though strategically we know we have always been very close. So such a high level visit at this point, is very important to let the world know that we are both standing together. We know that the recent, issues between Pakistan and our neighboring country, also China was strongly supporting Pakistan. We know that, as you also mentioned, the trilaterals are significant because both our countries want there to be, dialogue and actual solutions to the threats that we face. We also know that CPEC is going into, and this was reiterated in the meetings, into a successful phase 2, which is again development, which is people-centric focuses, which is utilization of those core infrastructure projects. And at the same time, we know that safety is a priority for Pakistan and for China. In that sense, it is very important to continue those dialogues to ensure that neighboring countries are cooperating and coordinating and ensuring that they are not contributing to further complications, right? So I think, it's a very important visit. It again, expresses what the world already knows. This is a very close bilateral cooperation. It is all weather. It has, exhibited itself as strong, strategic, and also pragmatic and practical through various geopolitical, scenarios. And this is no exception.
Of course, this is no exception. Abdullah Khan Saab, I understand the meeting between Field Marshal Asim Munir and the Foreign Minister Wang Yi was extremely important under the current context of the regional and the global situation as well. But both the sides reinforce the message that Pakistan and China stand shoulder to shoulder when it comes to regional security, when it comes to counter-terrorism, when it comes to defense cooperation. How important is this message?
Look, Pakistan's relations with China are strategic. They are not transactional as Pakistan's relations with some other countries are. So, and they are deep rooted, and Pakistan's defense ties with China are, unmatched and unprecedented. The meeting between Field Marshal Asim Munir and Chinese Foreign Minister is very important. That they reiterated the commitment. And especially if you see the statements issued by the Chinese media, the coverage, the one thing is very important that the China is very concerned about the Pakistan sovereignty, and that is a message conveyed to all those countries and states and powers who are in any way trying to think about negatively about Pakistani sovereignty. So that is a clear indication that China will always stand for Pakistan's sovereignty. This meeting which Chinese Foreign Minister came here is, if I see this, that he went to India and Pakistan and Afghanistan, that is also an attempt that they want that the SCO summit which is coming at the end of this month. What was the Chinese media? The friendly, united and fruitful summit. So they don't want to just add it had happened during the defense minister summit of SCO foreign minister, where the India abstained from the joint communique. So China this time wants that there should not be such kind of happening in China. They want that the SCO should look like a united front, and no country should take a solo flight at that. So that was the efforts behind the scene, were that they wanted to convince India this time that you should also not behave as you behaved the last time. So these were some sort of efforts which India also needed this time, some sort of solace from someone and some comfort, and that happened. And in return, I think India will agree not to repeat what it repeated. So India now once again coming back from India was playing the double games in the BRICS, and at the same time doing things which were contrary to the objectives of BRICS, in this SCO, but doing things which were contrary to the SCO's objectives. Now India once again is made to realize, it itself has not realized, but it is made to realize that global south is where you belong to, multipolar world, which Pakistan and China both, you see in the statements of Pakistan and China both talk about the multilateralism, and India is once again coming back while it kept supporting the unipolar or unilateral power, and trying to make problems with all its neighbors, including China and Pakistan and all the South Asian neighbors. Now once again India is realizing that where it belongs to. So all these visits of Chinese foreign minister, and especially in Pakistan, because some people were negatively trying to negatively portray, but it is very important that he went to India, and now that the message is that no further adventurism from India against Pakistan. This is also a very important outcome of
let's see if it translates into a robust counter-terrorism change as far as the whole scenario in the region is concerned.
If you allow me to counter terrorism, it is very important that one of the statement that the China wants to deepen the counter terrorism cooperation with Pakistan, and perhaps China is very interested to have a new counter terrorism agreement with Pakistan, and perhaps that is somewhere under discussion during last 1 year. So we may see in coming future, within few months, that we may have counter-terrorism agreement between China and Pakistan.
All right, let's see, let's hope that happens as well. Zoon, coming to you, the decision to transform China-Pakistan economic corridor into a growth, green, livelihood and open corridor, and of course fast stacking many important projects that concern CPEC like Gwadar Port Extension, ML1 Railway and Karakoram Highway realignment. How, looking at all of these, how important or central in your point of view is the CPEC to Pakistan's economic revival and regional connectivity?
No, I think, let's go back to the time when 2013, at that time, One Road was announced. In 2015, when we had the first phase of the cooperation announced, right, when President Xi was in Islamabad. CPEC, like other Belt and Road projects, the point is for it to truly align with the domestic government's aspirations. And I think, even if we look at the first phase of the projects, they had been in the pipeline and they were mutually determined. We have the JCC mechanism that has been ongoing. And the evolution, what we call the evolution of either the BRI or the China-Pakistan economic corridor from hard infrastructure, ports, pipelines, roads, railways, etc., going towards more socio-economic dimensions, going towards more people-centric perspectives, right? And also thinking really how can we utilize those projects and investments to make sure that we have sustainable development. In the meantime, I'll also mention that CPEC's evolution aligns so well with what China has announced as the Global Development Initiative, also the Security and Civilizations initiatives. And if you look at China's own domestic transformation in the last 10 years, it completely, it speaks for the direction that China wants to go in. So I would say that, what CPEC is doing for Pakistan and potentially for the region at large is that it is transforming how we approach development. We are looking at more value-added solutions. We are now looking at more domestically determined solutions, which have already, have a track record of success in China, and also we see successes in Pakistan. So I feel, this evolution, and also talking about greener energy, ecological priorities, talking about technical vocational education, talking about, also think tank cooperation. All of this is part of a multifaceted approach, which is, I believe, absolutely central to the direction that Pakistan has determined for itself. We also, as was mentioned by the other panelists, the SCO is coming up. This is going to be the biggest summit of the SCO. And when we talk about the SCO, which is regional connectivity, regional synergy, then actually CPEC is a vital corridor in that vision. We also want, CPEC to eventually extend towards Central Asia, connect West Asia with, through the Arabian Sea, through the Indian Ocean towards, other parts of the world. And that is the kind of, mobilization of people and resources that we aspire as a country. This is how, the East Asian countries and so many other countries have developed, by extending their development plan, vision towards the regions. So I feel the direction is, as was also mentioned, it is symptomatic of what we are seeing as an increasingly multilateral and multipolarizing world. I feel Pakistan is very clear that we prioritize our growth, our development, and we want other stakeholders, regional stakeholders, to be part of it as well. And additionally, I'd like to say that, we are increasingly seeing growing interest from young people on both sides, business opportunities, and all of this needs to be, I think we are now in a phase with this visit, with recent developments, we are in a phase where we can see more expedited progress on phase 2, which will again be about value creation.
All right, it will all be about value creation as well. Thank you so very much, Zoon, to have joined us all the way from China. Wishing you all the very best, and of course, till the next time. Abdullah Khan, I'd like to understand, Wang Yi has praised during his meeting with the Chief of the Army Staff Pakistan's counter-terrorism efforts at a time when Islamabad and Beijing are pushing Kabul jointly to act against the terror outfits. Now, under the current circumstances, how does this statement also reflect China's recognition of Pakistan's sacrifices in the fight against terrorism and Pakistan's role as a guarantor of regional stability?
China always recognized Pakistan's sacrifices and efforts against terrorism, and it was not just Wang Yi, but the Chinese ambassador in Delhi also said today or yesterday that Pakistan is also a victim of terrorism, and that was a big statement by the Chinese ambassador in Delhi. So the world knows, that Chinese know that Pakistan is a victim of terrorism, and Pakistan is fighting day and night against the terrorism, and they admit. And the important thing which you have highlighted is the push by Pakistan and China both that the Taliban government should take actions. I think China's patience is perhaps very strong, but it seems that the Afghans are perhaps not properly listening to the others. The way they respond, that we don't have anyone to, who is here. While the Chinese mention ETIM, we mention TTP. While the UN says that there are more than a dozen globally active militant groups operating in from Afghanistan are present, if not operating but present. But TTP and ETIM, they are operating, especially TTP. And TTP's issue is not just limited to the Pakistan. It is equally a serious issue for the Chinese as well. We at PICS, we have recently mapped the violence. We try to check. All the violence is concentrated along the routes of CPAC. DI Khan and surrounding areas, Yob, and down to the Gwadar port, where is the western route of CPAC, which is the ultimate route of CPAC. All the violence is concentrated on that, and the Chinese are basically concerned that in the north is TTP and the south is BLA and BLF, and all these things. On the one hand it is India, and the other hand it is Afghanistan which is doing that. There is convergence of interest of Pakistan and China, and that is very important, where both stand together with each other, and that is the point where I think Pakistan and China will further enhance their counter-terrorism cooperation, and that is the point where Afghanistan, if Afghanistan wants to align itself in the region and wants to prosper, I think they will have to listen to what the Chinese are requesting, what the Pakistanis are requesting. You cannot do things in like in solo flights and always in denial mode, and that is the I think in the better interest of the Afghan people, that the Afghan government, interim government, they must listen to these requests. Otherwise I think the situation will be very, very serious for them as well as for the region.
You know, there was a recent trilateral summit that happened in Kabul. I just asked you the question that both China and Pakistan pressed Kabul to rein in the terror outfits. How do you view this trilateral engagement, and how successful in the short term and the long term, in your point of view, is it going to be from a counterterrorism perspective, from a security perspective for the region? I'm just not including Pakistan, but also China and other Central Asian countries.
As I have earlier highlighted that it is the issue of regional peace. If Pakistan and Afghanistan both, they have the only issue of terrorism, or issue of TTP, Hafizul Bahadur group and some other militant groups. Other than that, our Field Marshal last year had categorically said that we have no issue with Afghanistan other than this terrorism issue. So the Afghanistan can prosper if it addresses this issue. And I think Afghanistan needs help from Pakistan, from China and other countries. So I think they are not doing justice to their own people. This trilateral meeting in China, Pakistan in 2023, I think, and China now in Kabul, it is very important platform. All the three countries have agreed that they will jointly address these issues. But the problem is that the Afghans want to discuss the trade, commerce, minerals and all other things except the terrorism. While the Pakistan and China both are pushing that all these things should be there, and the statement by the Chinese is that they expect that the crux of that statement, that they should create impetus for the development. And this is how the Chinese are linking the security situation in Afghanistan and the region with the development issues in Afghanistan. So the Afghans, they are perhaps, I don't know why they are not going to listen these things, but this is in their own interest, they must listen. But they just want to overlook the security and counter-terrorism.
Nothing can move forward unless the security and the counter-terrorism measures are not tackled with in a robust and effective manner. Once they are done, then things will move in the right direction, whether it be extension of CPEC to Afghanistan or the other, all the important measures that will include Afghanistan in the later days cannot move forward in the right manner until and unless this issue is tackled by Afghanistan, and Afghanistan needs to take the first step in doing so. Thank you very much, Abdullah Khan Sahab, to have joined us. It was a pleasure talking to you, as it is always when we talk counterterrorism, defense collaboration, and of course what is happening as far as the security paradigm of the region is concerned. Let's come to our second story, ladies and gentlemen. That concerns the latest situation as far as the floods are concerned, whether it be, as some say, flash floods, as some say, the excessive rains that have damaged infrastructure and also hampered with the lives of people across Pakistan. We've been joined by Afia Salam, who joins us all the way from Karachi. She's an environmental journalist. Afia, thank you very much to have joined us. First of all, before we even begin, tell me a little bit about Karachi. I mean, what is the situation as far as with all the visuals that we were seeing from Karachi and the environs, and how the people were stuck and how the people have been affected, how the infrastructure has been affected by the accumulation of water following the heavy rains?
Well, with these heavy rains, we were expecting urban flooding, which did happen, unfortunately. I know a lot of measures had been taken just prior to that to clean the drains, etc. But the volume, the city can't be changed overnight. And this is not a statement to absolve the municipality and other responsible administrative organs, but it's just that so much rain falling within a short span of time results in urban flooding. What actually is what we actually look at? Yes, it was terrible. People were stuck for hours on the road, but much better than last time was the drainage, the water level that went out. The very next day. I live in a place where earlier, when we used to get marooned during such rains, and it would take days for the water to go out. And of course, there are pockets. Because the city also is not very evenly planned, so there are pockets of roads that submerge. There are areas which are lower than the roads. The older houses have become lower than the roads because they don't strip the roads when they are remaking them. So we have all those problems. It's not an easy city to manage. It's a fractured governance system for Karachi. Not one agency looks after the entire city. So I know that when you have suffered on the roads for so many hours, you don't, you're not willing to accept these excuses, and they do sound like excuses because so much effort goes in, so much of planning goes in, so to ensure that this doesn't happen again, and yet it has happened. So there are lots of things that need to be fixed, and I don't think that we can push them under the carpet until the next rainy season. So I have a feeling that this time there's a lot more conversation happening around it. There's a lot more questioning that is happening around it, and we hope that kind of demand for accountability will result in something better next year or next season or next disaster when it strikes us. What can I say? That's I mean, I can't look into a crystal ball and say that this will happen, but that is something we need to keep pushing for.
Yourself have said, Afia, that things are moving in the right direction, that the situation is much better than it was the last year, and that you see a lot of developments that are happening. The pace is there, but maybe in your point of view, it needs to be more robust. We've also been joined by Dr. Asif Javed. He's an environmental scientist. Thank you very much, Dr. Asif, to have joined us. Dr. Asif, when you look at the situation across Pakistan, whether it be Punjab, whether it be Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, of course, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Gilgit-Baltistan have been extremely affected. Punjab also has been. The death toll is there in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. When you look at Buner, when you look at Swat, when you look at the other areas, and you see the stories through the different visuals that people are posting online, it posts a very sorry state of affairs as far as the state in which the people of the region are present. How, in your point of view, can these families that have been now affected by these rains and these excessive floods be sustainably rehabilitated when such a large majority, as per the reports also say, have lost their main source of income in just a matter of days?
Yes, Omar Khalid Bhatt. First of all, I am really sorry for the loss of life. There are many people dead, many injured. Their property has been swept away by the flash floods, or you can say a cloudburst or something like that. But before coming to the point how they can be rehabilitated, I first would like to comment on why does this happen, what is actually happening right now. I am really sorry to say I will not call it as a natural disaster. This is the results of the ugly development by the West, the first point, and secondly by creating a global warming pollution in the air, and secondly which has resulted the increase in temperature all over the world, and secondly our weak adaptation policies and implementation thereon. So this is a result of that, and I don't know for how long we will be hiding ourselves under these type of terminologies, climate change and cloud burst and all those things.
And which terminology should we use?
I mean climate change, cloud burst, because this is the result of definitely, Omar Khalid, I am just warning right now in your program, it will happen again. I have not something, I haven't modeled yet what is going to be happen, but it is quite evident temperature is on rise, definitely. So you can expect more intense rainfall in the coming monsoon. What happened actually when we have more temperature, more vapors go into the air, and in hilly areas particularly there is a phenomena called orographic lifting. Monsoon winds and then orographic convecting lifting combined together, massive amount of the water vapor go into the air, and then we have a massive downpour in the form of a cloud burst, like you can say more than 10 centimeter of rainfall in a shorter period of time. But let me ask you a question, where is the government, where are our people? How we have not adopted yet, because scientists have been trying from since ages. You know, you can observe the hotels on the bank of the river, and all those hotels does not belong to the rich people. They belong to the rich people, not to the poor people. And when they are also swept away by the flash floods, and obviously they can create a destruction in the downstream. So this has happened. Yes, now coming to the point how they can be rehabilitated, to tell you the fact, our nation is very good at rescue, our armed forces are very excellent at rescue, but that's not enough. We need long term planning right now. This is the monsoon season, obviously we can expect more rainfall as have been predicted by Pakistan Meteorological Department and NDMA, but what we will do by next year, we need to be very proactive. Omar Khalid, but our approach, I always observe our approach is reactive. We only react, not precautionary. There is a clear statement that whenever there is there is insufficient knowledge. For example, I don't know exactly what's going to be happen. This is the case with the weather. You can predict, but not 100% sure how much damage it will cause. So you have to take the precautions. So this is the time of consequences, era of consequences. The figures you could, many people dead, many people injured, livestock have been swept away, and people livelihood are at stake. For the first instance, definitely they have been provided with the prefabricated shelters for there, and government needs to provide them alternate earning opportunities, because they also have lost their income. Their lands have been eroded by the flash flood. That's a matter of fact. So not only government, civil society, international organizations, they should also come forward and help the people in this hard time. We all need to help and pray for them.
All right. We all pray for those who've been affected one way or the other, and we see the damage happening as in real time with all the different visuals that people themselves are posting. Afia, how much is climate change to blame for what Pakistan is going through? Is there more to it, or can we just squarely blame climate change?
No, so climate change, of course, is happening, and Pakistan is being impacted. I mean, there are no two opinions about that. But how much of the damage is because of climate change and how much because of our own, as Dr. Saab has said, our own doing, by not heeding to the warnings of people who said that climate change is there and is going to cause more damage. Yeah, rising heat will always be followed by more rain than we used to get. The other thing which we have already mapped and we have experienced over the past 4 or 5 years, in fact more than 4 or 5 years, is the shift in the geographical shift in the monsoon. So it has moved north and to the west, and this is why you are seeing so much of rainfall in the monsoon season in traditionally non-monsoon regions. So now that is also an established fact that this is what is happening. I mean, Chilas had a temperature of 40 plus in July, I think, June or July. That is not the temperature of those areas. So that should have been an indication. But what he has mentioned is a pet, this is something we should take very seriously. And I don't know why we haven't yet taken very seriously. We had zoning laws immediately after the 2010 floods that 2,000 yards on either side of the river, there should be no structure because that is a river bed. And yet we saw it the next year after that, and then we saw it in 2022, and we are seeing it this time. So this is not climate change. This is the lack of governance. This is the complete unmindfulness of the threat. So there is no threat perception about climate change by the rest of the Pakistanis or even in all the departments, because somebody is giving them permission. And if that permission is not there, they're not obviously coming up. These structures are not standing up there overnight. It takes a while to build such big structures. So who are the people who are signing off on those? We are blaming the people who have built, but we should also blame and also call for accountability as well as punishment of the people who are allowing this to happen. Because look what is happening. There are people in the pathways of water. We have hilly areas, we have a terrain, mountainous terrain, we have some of the highest mountains in the whole world. Obviously, the velocity of water with the increased volume is going to sweep away whatever comes in its path. And we have people living in its path. So the zoning
issue, I mean, there needs to be, as you have said, post the 2010 floods, there had been a mechanism that was put into place, and that needs to be now implemented before more damage occurs. Thank you very much, Afia Salam, to have joined us all the way from Karachi and to have updated us also as far as the situation there is concerned. Dr. Asif Javed Saab, I'd like to understand, due to this whole damage to infrastructure, we've not only have the people who've lost their lives, people who've lost their houses, but people who've lost their cattle, and we know that we are an agriculture-based economy. Then the waterborne diseases that are becoming more and more rampant because of the whole situation as well. What measures do you feel as an environmental scientist need to be implemented beforehand now to prevent future casualties, future disease, future loss of livestock?
Definitely, Umar Sahab, in addition to the hotels, you will also observe the illegal mining on the bank of the river. So you could not find a floodplain. So the solutions are, we have laws, but those laws needs to be implemented in true letter and spirit. The government should not allow the building on the floodplains of an area where high elite, or you can say powerful elite of the country, normally have their own hotels and buildings. If you go to the Naran area or Swat area, you will find many hotels. They belongs to the strong elite class or rich people. So they shouldn't be allowed over there. Number one thing. Number two, there should be massive awareness campaign. Alone government or organization can't do anything. People, when warnings are issued by the government, they should be taken seriously, and people should follow those warnings and should take those warnings very seriously to evacuate or something like that. Particularly, definitely there is a flood water now. Flood is in northern areas, you can say like in KP, that ultimately water will go to the Punjab and Sindh low-lying areas, and it will spread. As my other colleagues mentioned, the water erosive velocity is high in the hilly area, so it can bring boulders, it can bring down the buildings and all those things. But in the downstream area, due to the less gradient, it will spread out just like in Sindh, and it will stay there for a longer period of time, and it can cause the secondary effect.
So basically, which is what we need to do with putting this into place. We need to implement the effective mechanism so that this is not what we are seeing does not recur in the coming days, in the coming spells of monsoon as well. Thank you very much, Dr. Asif Javed Sahab, to have joined us and to have given us ample detail regarding the whole situation. Let's come very quickly to the last three stories of concerns. Pakistan's export to 9 regional states that has risen. That includes Afghanistan, China, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India, Iran, Nepal, Bhutan and the Maldives. And that is of course extremely good news, because Pakistan has always wanted to be an export-based economy, and this is what Pakistan is now inching towards becoming. Next concerns the latest situation as the Middle East is concerned, and of course when it comes to the occupation of the of different parts of Palestine, whether it be Gaza or whether it be the occupied West Bank. Coming to the occupied West Bank, around 21 countries have joined the EU and the United Nations to oppose Israel's illegal E1 settlement plan for the occupied West Bank. And this is good news, because we are seeing a definite bloc that is now becoming of important Western states that are opposing what Israel has been doing. We have also the United Nations General Assembly session that is going to be held next month, and many of the countries are going to formally accept the state of Palestine. And this is might or should make a change as far as Israel's stance in this genocide, in this war crimes or crimes against humanity as far as Gaza is concerned. For the moment, 62,192 people have been butchered, while 157,000 plus people have been injured by the Israeli forces. Finally, Hollywood is making its biggest artificial intelligence debut with a classic that is known as The Wizard of Oz. This is going to have its premiere at the Las Vegas Sphere, and the tickets are going to be extremely expensive, more than $100, but it's going to be worth it, because thousands and thousands of people have worked for many months in order to create that AI experience with The Wizard of Oz. They have done what could never have been done or seen before, and a lot of people say that it needs to be seen to be believed. So let's see how artificial intelligence is going to bring this new change or new modalities as filmmaking is concerned. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah on Monday with news stories, segments that pertain to us, you and Pakistan. Have a great weekend, but stay safe. Allah Hafiz.